move the goddamn train. There's no reason for this. You hear me? I'm live. 10,000 people are about to see what a joke this transit system is.
The 6th train sat frozen between stations. 312 passengers. One drunk trader at the cab door, and no one knew why.
Sir, step back from the door. Do not touch the cab.
Step back? Who the hell are you? I've got a meeting in 40 minutes and you're holding up the whole train for nothing.
This is a safety stop. I will not ask again.
Safety stop? Lady, I don't smell anything. I don't see anything. You're just lazy.
You will remain in the passenger area, or I will have transit police waiting at the next platform.
You all see this? She's threatening me. This is what our tax dollars pay for.
But inside the cab, Carol Allen wasn't listening to him. She was listening to something else, and it was getting closer. 5 minutes earlier. The 6th train southbound, approaching the 33rd Street curve at dawn.
That smell. Electrical insulation scorching. Not from the brakes, from the tunnel.
For 22 years, Carol had driven these tunnels. Before that, she was a tunnel inspector. She still knew every relay closet by its particular chemical scent.
It's ahead, just a trace. But it's there, and it's real, and it means something.
Her hand pulled the brake with a smooth, controlled movement. The train slowed, not a jolt, just a gradual, deliberate halt.
Dispatch. Train 634 southbound, stopped at 33rd curve. I have a possible electrical fire odor in the tunnel. Requesting confirmation.
Copy. 634. Checking sensors now. No alarms triggered yet. Hold position. I'll call it in.
Don't second-guess yourself. You've done this before. Make them listen.
Outside the cab, the passengers only felt the train stop. No announcement yet, just the heavy silence of a motionless subway car in the dark. In car 3, William Prescott was already looking at his gold watch, counting the minutes until his morning meeting. He had no idea what had just saved his life.
All right. That's it. Let's see what the MTA has to say about this. Good morning, everyone. You want to see incompetence? I am stuck on the 6th train for no reason. No announcement, no nothing. This is what our city has become.
His Instagram Live blinked to life. The first few viewers trickled in, then hundreds. William's face, reddening, filled the screen.
The MTA conductor up front is probably sleeping. I am going to find out what's going on.
Around him, passengers shifted uncomfortably. A woman pulled her bag closer. An older man shook his head. No one spoke.
Move. I am going to the front. Someone needs to get this train moving.
He pushed through the connecting doors, one car after another, his voice echoing in the narrow metal chambers. On his screen, comments started rolling. "Dude, chill, maybe there's a reason." William ignored them. In the next car, a young man saw him coming and stepped aside. No one challenged him. By the time he reached the second car from the front, his stream was at 2,000 viewers, and he still had no idea what was waiting beyond the locked cab door. He reached the cab door and didn't hesitate. His gold wrist slammed the metal, already filming.
634. Sensors now show a cable fire 200 feet south. Evacuate immediately. Fire crews are on the way.
Copy. Dispatch. 634 initiating passenger evacuation from the rear.
She pressed the PA button. Her voice, steady, filled every car.
Attention. This is your conductor. Fire in the tunnel. Evacuate through the rear cars. Leave everything. Move now.
Outside the cab, William still pounded, but now he heard the words. Fire. His fist paused.
Fire? You are lying. There's no smoke. You are just trying to cover your incompetence.
Inside, Carol didn't answer. Her eyes moved to the cab vent. The smell was stronger. Over the PA, she repeated, rear doors are opening. Follow the emergency lights to 28th Street. In the cars behind, passengers looked at each other, then at the vents. A faint haze of ozone began to creep through the air. The haze grew thicker, coiling down from the overhead vents. Passengers began to stand, pulling their collars over their noses.
There is no fire. She just wants attention. Don't move, everyone. It's a hoax.
But in the rear cars, emergency lights flashed. The doors cracked open, letting in the dim glow of the platform.
See this? They're panicking for nothing. I am going to break this door down if she doesn't come out.
On his live stream, comments turned. I see something behind you. Is that smoke? Dude, look.
Stay where you are. I'll get this train moving. Just watch.
A thin gray wisp curled from the ceiling vent just behind him, catching the cell phone light.
This city is full of lazy, incompetent.
In the third car, an elderly woman pulled a young man's arm, pointing toward the rear. They moved together. William Prescott stood alone in the front car now, the door still sealed, his voice bouncing off metal. And behind him, the smoke was beginning to pool. The cab door slid open, and Carol Allen stepped into the haze, her MTA blues cutting through the smoke.
Finally, you want to explain why you've been hiding while we all…
Move to the rear, now. There's a fire in the tunnel, and you are standing in the way.
I'm not going anywhere until you tell me why you stopped this train. You've wasted 40 minutes of my…
40 minutes. He'd be dead in 4 if I hadn't stopped. Keep it together.
You're going to be famous for all the wrong reasons, lady. I promise you that.
I will tell you one more time. Turn around and walk to the rear. This is not a debate.
The smoke had thickened to a gray curtain, yet Carol did not shout. She did not shove. She did not shove. She waited.
Fine, but this isn't over. I have your face now. Everyone does.
She moved past him toward the rear cars where the passengers were still filing out, her voice steady on the radio, clearing the way. His phone screen, once his megaphone, now scrolled with a verdict he refused to read. Smoke behind you, man. Bro, look up.
You are all idiots. That's steam. I've taken this train for 3 years. She's a liar, and you are falling for it.
But the screen showed his own image, ordered by a gray, thickening haze. His eyes flicked to the corner of the frame.
Fine. It's a drill or something. I'll walk to the back, but I'll have your badge by lunch, lady.
He moved at a stroll, not a rush. But the only footsteps he heard were his own. The car ahead was empty. At the rear, the 28th Street platform was a blessing. Passengers streamed out, some coughing, all alive. An older woman clutched a young man's arm, her face wet with relief. On his stream, the comments turned brutal. She saved you. You are still complaining. Delete this, man.
Saved me. I saved myself by walking back. This is all overblown. You'll see.
The viewer count surged past 8,000, but the likes had become a wall of angry faces. His weapon had turned on him. William Prescott walked toward the rear, not because he believed the danger, but because he couldn't stand to be the only one standing still. He stepped onto the 28th Street platform and turned. The tunnel he had just walked out of was now a mouth of black smoke.
You black bitch. This is your fault. You should have kept your mouth shut.
The camera caught every syllable. Behind him, the smoke curled into a black fist, undeniable. He ended the stream with a sharp tap, but the clip had already been screen recorded by 1,000 accounts. On the platform, the last passengers stared. A woman pulled her child closer, her eyes not on the smoke, but on him. Inside the train, Carol Allen was still walking the cars, clearing the last stragglers. She hadn't heard him, but the world had. Firefighters were already descending the stairs, their axes catching the emergency lights as the first hose coughed to life. The smoke had reached the street grates above. A news helicopter battered the dawn air. The 6th train was no longer a local story. William's phone vibrated with a call from his firm's senior partner. He stared at it, his thumb trembling, and let it ring. 312 passengers had just walked through the rear doors alive. But for William Prescott, the countdown to his own evacuation was already over. The fire crews had the blaze down to a smolder in 18 minutes. Cable Junction, south of 33rd, exactly where Carol had said it would be. On the platform, Carol Allen stood with a clipboard, her MTA cap low, counting heads in the fluorescent light.
312. Every single one walked off. Now make sure they all have a way home.
An MTA official in a suit approached her, awkward, grasping for words. "Miss Allen, the tunnel is clear, thank you. You saved a lot of people today." 50 feet away, William Prescott sat on a cold steel bench, elbows on his knees. His phone burned with notifications.
Delete. Just delete it. But it's everywhere. They've already clipped it.
His mentions were a fire of their own. His firm's name tagged 1,000 times. Clients, partners, reporters, all demanding a statement.
I just did what I was trained to do. Anyone on this platform would have wanted the same.
Hello? Yes? No, it's not what it looks like. Let me explain.
The fire was out. The trains would run again. But for Carol Allen and William Prescott, the story was just getting started. The clip spread like a pathogen. By noon, every major outlet had the same headline: Wall Street trader curses black subway driver as tunnel burns behind him. The MTA released a statement at 11. Conductor Carol Allen's quick judgment saved 312 lives. We are reviewing citation for valor. Carol declined every interview. She took the back stairwell out of the station and rode the local home to a quiet apartment in the Bronx. She sat on the edge of her couch and lifted a small wooden frame from the side table. The glass was warm from the afternoon sun. Inside the frame, Marcus Allen, in full FDNY gear, helmet under his arm, the date scratched into the corner. The 12th of September, 2001.
I smelled it again today, Marcus. The same scorch, the same wire smell. And I stopped the train, just like I promised.
Across town, William Prescott was frantically deleting his live history, but the platform had already cached the moment.
It's gone. I erased it. No, they already screen recorded. They have it. They all have it.
His firm's public relations team had already issued an internal memo. Prescott Capital does not condone. The phones in his office rang unanswered. By midnight, Carol Allen had not made a single statement. But the photo on her side table told a story that would soon shake the city far harder than the smoke ever could. At 8 the next morning, William was called to the corner office. 3 senior partners sat behind the glass table, a laptop open to the frozen stream. The managing partner spoke without inflection. "You are suspended indefinitely, effective immediately. All client relationships are terminated."
3 years to make partner. 8 seconds of video to lose it all.
His phone buzzed. A notification from the compliance system. Access revoked. All trading positions frozen. The message was unsigned. Security didn't escort him out. He walked himself. A cardboard box under one arm, his tie loosened, his gold watch heavier than it had ever been. By noon, his firm's main client had issued a statement of zero tolerance. His personal brokerage accounts were flagged for review. That evening, Carol Allen sat alone in her Bronx apartment, the same wooden frame warming her hands. The radiator clanked, but the room was still.
I smelled the scorching wire, Marcus. The exact same odor from your tunnel. 23 years, and today someone finally listened.
She didn't cry. She just held the frame tighter, as if the glass could press the grief back into her chest. Outside her window, the city's glow had dimmed, but inside, a 23-year-old promise had just been kept. 2 mornings later, Carol's phone rang with a blocked headquarters number. She let it ring twice before picking up.
Hello? I am listening. Yes.
The voice on the other end was the MTA commissioner. "The board has voted unanimously. You'll receive the Distinguished Service Medal."
Commissioner, I appreciate it, but I don't need a medal. I just did my job.
He insisted. Other conductors were attending. It wasn't just about her, he said. It was about the whole agency.
All right. I'll be there. But I am not a speaker. Don't expect a speech from me.
After the call, she picked up the framed photo. Marcus's eyes, frozen in time, seemed to ask a question she hadn't yet answered.
Would he want me to just stand there, pin on a medal, and walk off? Or would he want me to make them listen? If I don't say his name, who will? But if I do, I am opening a door I kept locked for 23 years.
She set the frame down softly. The medal was 3 days away, and the choice was clawing at her chest. 3 days before the ceremony, Carol stood in her bedroom, the framed photo of Marcus on the dresser. She hadn't touched her dress blues in years.
3 days. I need to decide. I can't just walk up there and take a pin. Not after what happened. Not after him.
She remembered their wedding day, September sunshine, through a Brooklyn church window, Marcus laughing as he lifted her off the floor. And then she was back in the dark. A crowded subway platform, a chief holding a folded flag, and the smell of scorched copper that never left her nose.
They said an electrical cable arced in the tunnel. No one smelled the insulation burning until it was too late. If someone had just listened to their nose.
After the funeral, Carol had started collecting jars. Scorched wire insulation, melted rubber, hot copper. She spent 23 years training her nose to never miss that smell again.
It ends now. I am not just taking a medal for myself. They're going to hear his name. I'll make sure of it.
She pulled her dress blues from the hanger, the MTA patch still sharp after years in the closet, and laid them on the bed.
This is for you, Marcus. For every conductor who ever doubted their nose, they're going to start listening.
The choice was made. The medal ceremony would not be a celebration. It would be a reckoning. The auditorium was filled with blue uniforms, 300 MTA workers, a giant seal on the wall. And at the podium, the commissioner spoke of unyielding vigilance. He called her name, and the room rose. Carol Allen, 50 feet from the stage, felt the applause like a weight.
Walk steady. Don't look at the floor. He would want you to look them in the eye.
She climbed the steps, her dress blues crisp, the medal already waiting on a velvet tray. In her mind, a different uniform.
There he is. In the front row, like always. Number... That's not right. The front row is empty.
Then, she looked out at the faces, some young, some old, and remembered why she had come.
I stand here today because I did what I was trained to do. But that training didn't start with the MTA. It started 23 years ago, in a tunnel not far from here. And it started because of a man who can't be here to see this.
The words hung in the air. A few people shifted. The commissioner's smile tightened slightly. She leaned closer to the microphone, and the room prepared for a story none of them had expected.
His name was Marcus Allen. He was a New York City firefighter, and he was my husband. On September 12th, 2001, Marcus went into a subway tunnel to fight an electrical fire, the same kind of fire I smelled at dawn on the 6th train.
A collective gasp rippled through the auditorium. The commissioner's face went slack. No one had connected the date. No one had known.
He died that day because nobody listened to their nose. The insulation had been burning for 20 minutes before the alarms went off.
Her voice wavered for the first time. She gripped the podium as if the wood could hold her together.
I accept this Distinguished Service Medal, not for myself, but on behalf of Marcus Allen, because every safe stop I've ever made started with what he taught me.
The commissioner sat frozen. A few people in the front row wiped their eyes. The room was no longer an award ceremony.
Keep going. He would want the whole story. Don't stop now.
She let the silence hang, then straightened her shoulders.
For 23 years, I've trained my nose to never miss what took him from me. And this morning, at the 33rd Street curve, that training saved 312 lives. For 23 years, I've trained my nose to distinguish between 7 different electrical failure smells. Burnt insulation, overheated copper, melting PVC. I've rehearsed them like a musician practices scales. The difference between normal brake dust and a fatal arc is no wider than the gap between my thumb and finger.
The audience was stone still. A young conductor in the 3rd row pressed both hands to his mouth.
The morning of September 12th, I was in my kitchen. I smelled it before the phone rang. I will never forget that smell.
Her voice snapped, but she drew a breath and straightened her spine, looking straight into the lights.
And yesterday, at the 33rd Street curve, I caught it again. That same compound of scorched rubber and hot copper. My hand hit the brake before I could think.
A sob broke from the 2nd row. The commissioner lowered his glasses, and wiped his eyes and wiped his eyes.
312 passengers walked off that train because of Marcus Allen. He saved them through me.
The room erupted. Not polite applause, but a raw, weeping standing ovation that shook the stage lights.
I am not finished, she said, her voice hardening into new resolve. There's something else I need to ask of every man and woman in this room. I am asking the MTA to establish what I call the Tunnel Smell Protocol. Mandatory olfactory training for every conductor in this system. Give them scent kits. Train them to distinguish the smells that warnings don't catch. Call it Marcus's protocol.
The commissioner rose from his seat. His face was wet, but his voice was clear as he turned to the crowd. He nodded to Carol and spoke into a handheld mic from the front row. The MTA will fund this. Effective immediately. The room detonated. Not applause, but a roar. Men and women in blue launched to their feet.
312 people walked off my train alive. But this protocol can save thousands.
The commissioner crossed the stage and took Carol's hand, standing beside her as cameras flashed.
This medal belongs to Marcus. The protocol belongs to every passenger who'll never know how close they came.
The MTA seal on the screen behind her had never looked like more than a promise. Carol Allen had turned a loss into a system, and not one person in that room would ever smell their cab the same way again. After the cameras left, Carol Allen stood alone in the wings, the Distinguished Service Medal heavy in her palm.
We did it, Marcus. They're going to train every conductor. They're going to listen.
By the next morning, the story had jumped from the auditorium to every screen in the city. The New York Post front page ran her photo beside a single number, 312. The headline read, "Tunnel Smell Protocol." Marcus's Law, social media, had already picked up the name. Marcus's protocol was trending. The MTA's announcement video had 2 million views before noon. At a noon press conference, the commissioner held up a framed certificate and said, "This is not a pilot. This is not a pilot. This is policy. Effective immediately." That evening, Carol sat on her couch, the medal resting on the side table next to Marcus's photo.
Not for me, for him. And for every conductor who will never have to wonder what that smell means.
The public saw a hero. Carol saw a promise kept. The medal would go on her dresser, but the real weight had already lifted. The Tunnel Smell Protocol was no longer a proposal. It was policy. And in the tunnels beneath New York, the air was about to change. 18 months later, the Tunnel Smell Protocol was no longer a memory. It was a reflex. In a cab on the D line, a young conductor caught a familiar scorch through the vent. She pulled the brake without hesitation. Dispatchers confirmed a cable overheating. 62 passengers evacuated, no smoke. No panic, just a nose and training. 3 weeks later, another conductor on the 2 train smelled burning PVC. He stopped the train at a station. Fire crews found a smoldering relay 200 feet ahead, twice more. In the months that followed, a nose caught what alarms missed. 4 trains. Hundreds of lives. 1 protocol. In its first 18 months, the Tunnel Smell Protocol saved 4 trains. A legacy that started with a firefighter's death was now measured in lives that would never smell smoke. Carol Allen, senior MTA instructor, stood before a classroom of 20 new conductors. The Tunnel Smell Protocol binder open on the lectern.
This is scorched rubber insulation. The warning scent of an electrical fire waiting to happen. In a dark tunnel, your sense of smell will warn you long before any sensor. Trust it. You recognize this odor. You pull the brake immediately. No hesitation.
She passed the jar around. Young conductors breathed in the invisible sign of crisis.
This protocol is named after my husband, Marcus Allen. Every safe stop you make honors him. Never doubt your nose. Sensors can fail. Technology can miss, but your training will not.
The room fell still, the chemical aroma a lesson that had already saved 4 trains. A young woman in the front inhaled, locking the scent into her memory forever. Carol watched, and the metal felt lighter than the new protectors before her. Later that afternoon, Carol Allen walked the quiet green path to a headstone she knew by heart. She knelt in the grass, the Distinguished Service Medal warm in her coat pocket. The stone read simply, Marcus Allen, FDNY, L143, the 12th of September, 2001.
Hey, Marcus. I brought you something.
She hung the medal over the corner of the granite, the blue ribbon catching the pale winter sun.
We did it. They're calling it Marcus's Protocol. Every conductor in the system will be trained now. They're finally listening. I made them listen. I miss you, but you are still saving lives. You and me, together.
A cold breeze stirred the grass. She laid her palm flat on the stone and closed her eyes. And in that quiet, for the first time in 23 years, Carol Allen let herself rest deep in the tunnels. A Silver 6 train rounds a curve, headlights sweeping the dark. 312 passengers rode this line that morning. All of them walked home because one woman trusted her nose. 312 people saw another day, and now every conductor is listening. The tunnel smell protocol has become second nature. 4 trains saved in 18 months. Hundreds of lives, one husband's memory. Carol Allen still drives the 6th train, but now she trains others to smell what she smelled. The brake is pulled sooner. The passengers never know. Marcus's name is on every scent kit, in every training binder. In the quiet of a bright tunnel, a train rolls forward, safe, because one woman trusted her nose. 312 people saw another day, and now every conductor is listening.